Welcome to our channel, Book by Book, where we distill groundbreaking ideas into actionable knowledge. Today, we're tackling a massive one, a book that has genuinely, I think, redefined how we think about success in the 21st century.
Oh, this is a big one. It's one of those books that sort of acts like a hinge in your own thinking. It forces you to look inward and, realize that so many of the limits you thought were real, permanent barriers are, well, they're just in your head.
We are diving into Carol S. Dweck's monumental work, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success.
Right. And Dweck, she's a world-renowned Stanford psychologist. And this book, both the original from 2006 and the update, it's basically become the foundation for modern education, sports psychology, you name it.
Her research started with a really simple question, but a profound one. Why do some people, the ones with all the natural talent, just crumble when they hit a real failure?
While others, who maybe start with less, seem to get stronger with every single setback.
Exactly. It's the ultimate riddle of achievement, isn't it?
It is. And she didn't just study successful people. She studied how people react, to challenge, to being confused, to getting criticism. And after decades of this research, she came to this one stunning conclusion.
Which is that the biggest predictor of your success isn't your talent, it's what you believe about your talent.
That's the core of it.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to give you the ultimate summary of this insight. We're going to break down exactly how Dweck found that your mindset, these fundamental beliefs about your own abilities, matters more than the skills you actually start with.
Right. The central thesis, the heart of the whole book, is that your beliefs about your abilities literally shape your success more than the abilities themselves.
And that idea is so transformative because it just removes all the fatalism from it.
It does. It says your abilities aren't a trophy you have to defend. They're more like a seed that you can grow with effort by taking on challenges.
So that really sets up our structure for today. We're going to break down the two core frameworks she identified, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
And then we'll show you how this distinction, this one little difference in belief, applies to, well, every single area of your life, from your job to your relationships.
This is the kind of knowledge that, when you apply it, it really can shift your entire trajectory. So let's start right at the foundation. Dweck's research basically showed that we all tend to operate through one of two lenses.
Yeah, and they're not just like preferences, they're the actual filters we use to interpret everything that happens to us.
Yeah.
They shape how we feel and what we do.
And the distinction is so important because these mindsets dictate how we react to the three things that really determine our progress: challenges, criticism, and of course, failure.
Exactly. If you can figure out which one is your default setting, you can actually start the work of changing it.
Okay, so let's define the first one. This is the one that's often the silent killer of potential, the fixed mindset.
Right. So if you have a fixed mindset, you believe deep down that your core qualities, your intelligence, your personality, your artistic talent, are just static. They're fixed.
You got a certain amount at birth, and that's your lot. You're either good at something or you're not.
And the second you believe that, the entire goal of your life changes. It stops being about learning and starts being about proving.
Proving you're smart, proving you're talented.
Exactly. Every single task becomes a test, a performance review of that fixed intelligence you think you have. And the behaviors that follow are, as Dweck found, incredibly predictable and very restrictive.
For instance, someone with a fixed mindset, they will actively avoid challenges.
Right. Why would they take one on? A challenge is a risk.
A huge risk. Because if they try something hard and fail, it's not just a stumble. It feels like a public verdict that they just don't have what it takes.
Precisely. They also fear failure intensely. A mistake isn't just a mistake. It threatens their entire identity as a smart person.
So they'll choose the easier task where they know they'll succeed, right? They sacrifice the chance to learn just to get that short-term validation.
Constantly seeking that validation. They need other people to confirm that, yes, you are smart. You are talented.
And this is the part that I found fascinating. They see effort as a bad thing.
Yes. Or at least as a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
The logic is, if I were really gifted, this would be easy.
So if you have to try hard,
it means you're not a natural. It means you're an imposter. And as a result, they just ignore or get defensive about constructive feedback.
Because it's not helpful data. It's an insult. It's a personal attack on their ability.
That whole system just locks people in place. Dweck uses this kind of analogy of soil. The fixed mindset is like hard, rocky, compacted soil. You can't grow anything new in it.
It just rejects the very things needed for growth, like effort and feedback.
And the psychological cost of constantly having to defend that fragile self-image It's just exhausting.
I think we need to linger on that for a second, the psychological cost. Because when you're in that mindset, your inner monologue is just, it's all about comparison. It's about defense.
Right. Who's smarter than me? Am I gonna look stupid here?
You're not just trying to succeed. You're trying to succeed more easily than everyone else. And you're always on the lookout for threats to your status.
And that is the invisible price. It's this chronic stress that comes from believing your talent is just some static thing you have to protect.
Okay, so now let's flip the coin. Let's look at the alternative, which is so much more empowering. The growth mindset.
Here, the core beliefs are the complete opposite. Abilities are not your destiny. They are just your starting point.
Effort isn't a sign of weakness. Effort is what actively makes you smarter, what builds your skills.
Right. And so challenges aren't threats to be avoided. They are opportunities.
The whole emotional landscape it shifts completely. Failure is detoxified. It's not a verdict on your worth anymore.
It's just feedback. It's data. It's a necessary part of learning something new. So people with a growth mindset, they actually embrace challenges.
They persist when they're frustrated because they see setbacks as temporary.
And they value learning more than they value looking smart. If they have to choose between getting an easy A or taking a harder class where they'll learn more but maybe get a B.
They take the B. They choose the learning.
Exactly. They see effort as the road to mastery. It's an investment, not a sign of weakness.
And this is where that profound shift happens that Dweck talks about. Success stops being about proving yourself to other people.
And it becomes all about improving yourself. The focus is on the process, on the effort, on getting better day by day, no matter where you started.
And that's what makes this idea such a great equalizer, right? It says anyone from any starting point can reach high levels of achievement if they adopt this framework.
It's the foundation for becoming a resilient learner, a courageous risk taker. And the most crucial part that Dweck emphasizes is that it's changeable. You're not born with one or the other.
You're not locked in. Okay, so let's make this really concrete. Dweck used this example a lot from her research with students.
Right. The academic setting is a perfect laboratory for this.
So imagine two bright students. They're both facing a really tough new subject in college, let's say. I don't know, advanced calculus or something.
Something with a steep learning curve for anybody.
The fixed mindset student gets their first quiz back, and it's a C. That fixed inner voice just starts screaming, "See, I'm not a math person. I just can't do this."
And so what does that student do? They pull back. They might stop asking questions in class because they don't want to look dumb. They might even drop the course.
All to protect their perfect GPA and, more importantly, that label of being smart. They choose the label over the actual messy act of learning.
Right. The struggle itself feels like proof of their incompetence, so it must be hidden.
Now, contrast that with the growth mindset student. They also get a C on that first quiz, but their inner voice says something totally different.
It says, wow, okay, this is hard. My usual way of studying isn't working for this material. I need to build some new connections in my brain.
So they lean in. They go to office hours. They form a study group. They rework the problems they got wrong. They actually seek out the harder stuff.
Because they see that difficulty as a signal that they're right at the edge of their current ability. And that's exactly where Dweck says real growth happens.
This contrast is really why her work is so essential right now. I mean, we live in a world where things change so fast. Skills you learned 5 years ago might be obsolete.
For sure. If you're operating from a fixed mindset where you're just trying to defend the skills you already have, you're basically designed for stagnation.
You need that fertile growth mindset soil to adapt and to flourish. It's not about blind optimism. It's about being realistic about our own capacity for change.
Right.
Okay, so let's move from the definitions into the core actionable lessons from the book. And we have to start with what might be the most powerful little trick in the whole thing. The power of 3 small letters. Y-E-T.
The power of yet. I think this is her most famous idea because it's so simple to use, but it's psychologically, it's just devastatingly effective.
Explain how it works.
Well, she found that adding the word yet to the end of a sentence transforms a statement of permanent failure into one of temporary, incomplete learning.
So if I say, I can't do this, that feels final. It's like a closed door.
Exactly. It implies some kind of unchangeable barrier. But if you just rephrase it to, I can't do this yet, the statement immediately opens that door back up.
It acknowledges where you are now. You're not proficient, but it holds open the possibility of a different future.
Right. It implies that with more time, with more effort, the outcome will change. Dweck saw this used in schools. Instead of giving a student a failing grade, A teacher might write, "Not yet."
And that simple change radically reduces the shame of failure, doesn't it?
Completely. You stop internalizing it as "I am a failure," and you correctly see it as "I haven't succeeded yet."
It builds this immediate resilience because you understand you're just on a curve. You haven't reached the end of it. It's like a mental bridge.
That's a great way to put it. It's a bridge connecting where you are now, in the middle of the struggle, to where you want to be, which is mastery.
And you can use it for anything. I'm not confident giving presentations yet, or our team hasn't hit its target yet.
It doesn't deny the present difficulty, but it makes that struggle meaningful. It's leading somewhere. This little word forces your brain out of that fixed mindset trap.
And that idea of meaningful struggle leads us right to the next big lesson, which is all about effort. It's the idea that effort is the path to mastery, not a sign of weakness.
This one is a huge hurdle for a lot of people, especially people who were praised their whole lives for being smart.
Because the fixed mindset belief is, if I were really talented, I wouldn't have to try so hard.
Exactly. Effort exposes you as a fraud. In a lot of high-achieving cultures, there's this myth that true genius is effortless. If you're seen sweating and struggling, you must not have it.
I do have to push back a little on that, though. I mean, doesn't this risk sort of minimizing real innate talent? We can't all become concert pianists, no matter how much we practice.
That's a really important clarification. Dweck never denies that people have different starting points or natural aptitudes. Her point isn't that talent doesn't exist.
Oh, okay.
Her point is that talent alone is basically inert. It's just potential. The destructive belief is that effort invalidates talent. That's what causes gifted people to stop trying the moment something gets hard. They think, this is tough, so maybe I'm not so talented after all.
I see. So the problem isn't whether talent exists, it's whether we believe talent is enough. Dweck is saying effort is what actually activates and multiplies talent.
Exactly. Her research is the counter-argument. Effort isn't the enemy of talent, it's the creator of ability. She argues that intense effort literally grows your intelligence.
We're talking about neuroplasticity here, right? Strengthening neural pathways.
Yes, which we can get into more detail on later. But the act of struggling with something complex is what builds the mental machinery to handle it. Effort builds discipline, and discipline is what turns a good idea into a finished product.
Just look at professional athletes. They don't succeed because they avoid practice. They succeed because they train harder and more strategically than anyone else.
The physical analogy is perfect. Growing your mind is like lifting weights. The struggle is the tearing of the muscle, but that's what's required for it to rebuild stronger.
So effort becomes a strategic tool, not an embarrassing secret.
And that's the difference between people who hit a plateau early in their careers and the ones who become true masters over the long haul.
Now let's take this into the professional world because a mindset isn't just a personal thing. It creates a culture.
Oh, absolutely. The mindset of a company's leadership dictates the entire organizational culture, especially during times of stress or, when things go wrong.
So let's paint a picture of the two different workplaces Dweck describes. First, the fixed mindset workplace.
Okay. In this culture, the main goal is to protect the reputations of the people at the top. Mistakes are not learning opportunities, they're punished.
Which leads to a blame game.
A pervasive blame game. Everyone is terrified of being exposed as incompetent, so they hide problems. They avoid taking risks. New ideas are seen as dangerous because they might fail.
And Dweck points out that fixed-minded leaders often surround themselves with yes-men, right? People who will just confirm their existing brilliance.
Exactly. It creates this defensive, fearful culture where everyone's focused on looking good instead of actually doing good work and adapting to the market. And the long-term cost of that is stagnation.
We've all seen huge companies fail because they were too convinced of their own past glory to change.
Right. Now, contrast that with a growth mindset workplace. The culture is completely different. It encourages constant learning. It embraces experimentation.
And failure is treated as data.
Valuable data. Expensive data sometimes, but necessary for innovation. The whole focus is on developing people, on rewarding progress, not just perfect outcomes.
Dweck talks about companies like Microsoft, who had to completely reinvent their culture to survive. They had to get leaders who were willing to say, we don't know the answer, but we're going to figure it out together.
True innovation requires a high tolerance for failed experiments. You have to know that if you try 10 things, 8 or 9 might not work, but those failures teach you what you need for the one big success.
The takeaway for anyone listening who manages a team is huge. Your mindset sets the tone. If you're afraid to admit when you're wrong, your whole team will become afraid to take risks.
A company's growth depends on its collective willingness to learn.
Okay, so we've talked about work, but Dweck's ideas go even deeper into our most personal relationships.
Yes, and this might be where the fixed mindset does the most damage, because our culture is just saturated with these myths about love.
The idea that relationships are discovered, not built. You're supposed to find the one.
The perfect match where everything just works
Yeah,
effortlessly. And that belief is a recipe for disaster.
because reality is never effortless.
Never. So in a fixed mindset relationship, the first time real conflict comes up, an argument about money, a disagreement about the future, the assumption is, oh no, we're incompatible.
So you avoid those hard conversations because you don't want to shatter the illusion of perfection.
Right. And you take everything personally. Your partner's frustration isn't about the problem, it's a verdict on you. You start looking for who's to blame.
The fixed mindset sees conflict as a sign that the relationship is broken, that the magic is gone.
But the growth mindset in a relationship is completely different. It's so much more robust because it expects challenges. It sees conflict as an opportunity to understand each other better.
It values the effort of communication. It understands that working through a disagreement is the hard work that makes a partnership strong.
And growth-minded partners believe people can grow together. They approach challenges with curiosity, not blame. Instead of asking, why are you always like this? They ask, what happened here? And what can we do differently next time?
So challenges actually make the relationship stronger, not weaker. It comes back to Dweck's core idea. Healthy relationships are built day by day. They aren't just discovered, fully formed.
And this leads us perfectly into maybe the most famous application of her work, parenting and teaching. Specifically, the psychology of praise.
This research has had such a huge impact on education. The idea that praise, our attempt to build a child's confidence, can actually backfire and create a fixed mindset.
It's the core danger of praise. Her experiment on this was so simple and so revealing. She gave kids a set of easy puzzles. After they solved them, she split them into two groups for praise.
One group got what she calls person-based praise. Things like, wow, you're so smart.
The other group got effort-based praise, something like, wow, you must have worked really hard on that.
Then she gave them a choice for the next round. Another easy set of puzzles, or a harder set where they would learn a lot.
And the results were stunning. The kids praised for being smart. The fixed group almost all chose the easier task because they were afraid of losing that smart label. Trying something hard and failing would expose them as not being smart after all. So they became incredibly risk-averse.
So that kind of praise, you're a natural, or you're so gifted, it actually damages their resilience. It teaches them that their value comes from effortless success.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the kids who were praised for their effort overwhelmingly chose the harder puzzles. They weren't afraid to fail because their worth was tied to the process, to the struggle, which was something they could control.
So the praise that builds a growth mindset is all about the process. I love how you stuck with that problem, or that was a great strategy you used.
Yes. Praise the effort, the strategies, the resilience, the improvement. Not the fixed, innate trait. That's how you psychologically inoculate a child against the fear of failure.
Okay, so we've laid out the what and the why. But the big question for everyone listening is, how do you actually do this? How do you change a mindset that you've had for decades?
And Dweck is very clear on this. Mindsets are learned, so they can be unlearned. But it's not a switch you flip. It's a process. It takes self-awareness and a lot of practice.
It's an ongoing project, not a one-time fix.
It is. And the work starts with being really honest with yourself. You have to admit that the fixed mindset is your own internal defense mechanism. It pops up when your ego feels threatened. To change it, you have to become a detective of your own thoughts.
And she gives a very practical 7-step process for this. So let's walk through that blueprint.
Okay, step 1. Identify your fixed mindset triggers. You have to figure out what situations push your buttons. Is it getting criticism? Is it seeing a coworker succeed? Is it just facing a really hard task?
Know the trigger so you can prepare for it.
Exactly. Step 2. Observe and name your inner voice. That fixed mindset has a specific vocabulary. I can't do this. I'm going to look stupid. It's too hard.
You have to catch that voice in the act. Don't judge it, just notice it. Ah, there's my fixed mindset again, trying to keep me safe.
Step 3 is to consciously replace those thoughts. This is the active part. When the fixed voice says, I can't, the growth voice has to interrupt with, I can learn, or what's a different strategy I can try?
You're essentially talking back to that old narrative.
You are? Okay,
Practice.
step 4. Take on challenges deliberately. The fixed mindset loves the comfort zone. So you have to consciously step out of it. Schedule one hard thing every week.
Something that stretches you, even if it's small.
Yes. Step 5. View effort as an investment, not a cost. You have to reinforce this every day. Every hour of focused struggle is building capacity in your brain. You're investing in your future self.
Step 6 is a tough one. Use feedback as fuel, even when it stings.
This is the hardest for most people. The fixed mindset hears criticism as an attack. You have to learn to separate the emotional sting from the useful data. Ask yourself, what's the one piece of information here I can use to get better?
Treat it like free consulting.
Right. And finally, step 7. Celebrate progress, not perfection. The fixed mindset wants a flawless victory. The growth mindset celebrates the small wins, the upward slope of the journey. Acknowledge the effort you put in, even if the result isn't perfect yet.
And these steps, they aren't just based on wishful thinking. They're grounded in science.
That's right. The main scientific pillar here is neuroplasticity. This is the proven biological fact that our brains are not static. They physically change and reorganize themselves based on what we do and what we learn.
So when you struggle with something hard, you are literally forcing your brain to build stronger connections.
Yes. The growth mindset isn't just a nice idea. It's a description of a biological process. Avoiding challenges is choosing neural stagnation. Seeking out effort is how you physically grow your competence.
And that biological reality leads to a huge psychological shift Dweck talks about, which is developing an internal locus of control.
Right. Someone with an external locus of control blames things outside themselves. Luck, fate, unfair bosses, not enough talent.
The victim mentality.
Exactly. The growth mindset flips that. You start attributing outcomes to things you can control. Your effort, your strategies, your persistence.
So if you fail an exam, the fixed thinker says, the test was unfair. The growth thinker says, my study strategy was wrong. I need to change what I control.
And that builds so much personal responsibility and resilience. Failure stops, meaning I am broken, and starts meaning my strategy is broken and I can fix it.
But it's important to remember what you said earlier. This requires mindset maintenance. It's not a one-and-done cure.
Not at all. The fixed mindset is your default comfort setting. It's always waiting to creep back in when you're scared or tired. You have to keep monitoring your triggers and choosing the growth path every single day.
Okay, so to help everyone listening start that process right now, let's just synthesize the most critical, actionable takeaways, the things you can do today.
Okay, start small. First, anytime you catch yourself thinking I can't, immediately replace it with I can learn this.
Second, get in the habit of adding yet to any limiting belief. I'm not good at public speaking yet.
Third, make a conscious effort to praise effort, not talent. Do it for yourself, for your kids, for your team at work.
Fourth, you have to stop waiting for challenges to find you. Seek out challenges weekly. Deliberately step into discomfort.
Fifth, train yourself to view criticism as free advice. Hunt for the useful data inside the sting.
Sixth, track your progress instead of demanding perfection. Focus on the learning curve.
And finally, a social one. Surround yourself with learners, not judges. Choose to be in environments where trying hard and making mistakes is celebrated, not mocked.
Let's drive these ideas home with some of the best quotes from the book. They just capture the essence of this so well.
They really do. This first one gets at the core of it all. Why waste time proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better?
That's the whole fixed versus growth paradigm in one sentence. And this one about failure. Failure is information. We label it failure, but it's more like not yet.
It just takes all the venom out of it. And I love this one for anyone who feels like they're a work in progress. Becoming is better than being.
It's all about the process, not the static state.
And this one is the thesis of the book itself. The view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life.
Finally, the one that flips the whole idea of talent on its head. Effort is what makes you smart or talented. It's the cause, not the effect.
So, when you put it all together for you, the listener, what does it mean? Adopting a growth mindset doesn't guarantee you'll never fail.
No, life is way more complicated than that.
But it does guarantee that growth is inevitable, as long as you commit to the process of learning. It's the ultimate insurance policy against becoming obsolete.
It frees you from that invisible prison of perfectionism and the fear that comes with it. It turns every challenge, every setback, into a real opportunity to get better.
So we want to leave you with a question for this week. Where in your life, maybe at work, maybe in a relationship, have you been letting a fixed mindset keep you comfortable? Where have you been telling yourself, I can't do that?
And what's one small challenge you can take on this week just for the sake of learning? Choose growth. If you found this summary helpful, we ask you to please like this video, share it with others who you think need to hear this message, and of course, subscribe to our channel, Book by Book, for more helpful book summaries.
Your support really does motivate us to keep digging into these books and bringing you the best insights.